8 million Canadians had at least one disability in 2022. And people with disabilities are half as likely to be employed as people without them. So not being able to fully take part in employment is a missed opportunity of experience, talent, skill, and potential for both businesses and the workforce, but also our society in general. When somebody at work is injured, businesses often want to do the right thing, but many, and especially those small businesses, don't know how. And that's where roles like CDMPs come in. So how do you help WSIB in terms of furthering our mission? So our mission is to reduce the impact of workplace illnesses and injury on people and businesses in Ontario. And a big part of that effort is the support we provide to people who have suffered a work-related injury or illness, helping them as they recover and safely return to work. People with a CDMP designation help the WSIB in delivering our services, realizing our vision of making our services better, easier, and faster for all the people that we are here to help. CDMPs are technical experts and strategic partners who help drive change. And what that means for us in practice is they design programs to educate managers, supervisors, and team members about disability management policies, return to work processes, and accommodation practices. They often advise joint labor management committees and provide guidance on best practices for disability prevention as well as reintegration. And they monitor legislative changes and update organizational practices accordingly, helping ensure awareness and compliance. But one of the things that we have done and that we're really proud about is an area where certified disability management professionals are making a difference at WSIB. And that's with our Priority Business Initiative, or what we call PBI for short. PBI helps businesses overcome challenges in workplace health and safety, return to work, as well as claims management. And we launched this program in 2023 with dedicated health and safety professionals, including CDMP certified team members, to help lead the PBI program engagement. And through PBI, we offer businesses one-on-one support to help them identify challenges and develop tailored action plans. And certified disability management professionals play a role at the WSIB in many areas, in terms of business engagement and helping align disability management with organizational goals and compliance requirements, building collaborative frameworks with other business areas like HR or health and safety or unions to help reduce risks and costs for those businesses. They also help with return to work strategies, designing individualized return to work plans with accommodations and early intervention, coordinating amongst stakeholders, and measuring outcomes to ensure timely and safe reintegration. But they also provide training and resources for managers and team members on disability and return to work processes, keeping stakeholders informed on legislative changes and best practices for prevention and integration. And these skills mesh with the Priority Business Initiative's goals of reducing injury rates, improving return to work outcomes, and fostering safer workplaces. Through this, we focus on proactive engagement with businesses to lower their injury rates and improve their safety culture. We conduct gap assessments, which include reviewing return to work policies that help guide action to improve return to work outcomes, but also reduce claims durations. And we also provide tailored resources for businesses to address gaps in their return to work program, as well as their health and safety policies. So in the past 2 years in our Priority Business Initiative, we have engaged more than 500 businesses, helping them create specific action plans to improve health and safety, return to work, and claims management. And early program results have shown positive trends for participating businesses. And we couldn't have achieved these results without the leadership and expertise of CDMP certified consultants. So I'll share an example of what this looks like in practice. We had a medium-sized business that had high injury rates as well as higher long claim durations. We partnered with that business's leadership to identify pain points and help implement a tailored return to work program, as well as identify process changes that would reduce the ways that injuries were occurring at their work sites. And this particular business's premiums and claims were much higher than those of their industry peers. And the business's projected premium rate was well over double the average rate for that industry. So there was financial incentive for them to participate in this program. We helped the company better understand its situation, discover the source of its injuries, and assess the company's health and safety management system, as well as its return to work program. Based on these findings, we provided an action plan with resources to address the gaps identified. And the result so far has been that the business's percentage of lost time claims decreased from 25% in 2023 to only 11% of their claims, thanks to an improved return to work program. So every year, our return to work team helps thousands of people get back to work after a workplace injury or illness. It also helps businesses take the steps to prevent those injuries from happening in the first place. But providing that help takes professional expertise of a high standard, compassion, and a genuine interest in people's well-being. And having people on our team who have CDMP designations is an asset to us in our mission to minimize the impact of workplace injuries. CDMP expertise is driving real change for us, building collaborative frameworks and improving return to work outcomes and fostering a culture of safety. So I just want to end with congratulations to everyone today for successfully achieving your Certified Disability Management Professional designation. And thank you for inviting me to participate in today's celebration and share a little bit about what we do at WSIB.
Thank you, Janine. I'm always so interested in how things are evolving in these different programs and the role of the CDMP evolving. So that's really impressive results.
Yes, we're really
Yeah.
excited to see that it's making a difference for the businesses that we're supporting, and that we have the right skill sets in our organization to be able to support businesses on their journeys.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
And so now we're gonna switch over to Bill Dyer. Bill Dyer is the Director of Reducing Poverty Initiative with NIDMAR. And Bill leads important national work focused on strengthening return to work systems as a pathway to reducing poverty. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you very much, Lanny, and thank you for allowing me to present today. Congratulations to all the new graduates that have managed to join us this morning. I remember many, many years ago, it's not an easy feat. That examination, I can still remember, even though it was well over 10 years ago. I can remember every moment of that examination because it tests your entire capacity as a certified disability management professional. So today, in 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you about a program that I'm involved with in British Columbia. It's a pilot project. I've got a presentation here that I'm going to bring up momentarily. The presentation starts with a brand new video that I'm hoping 99.9% of the people on the call this morning have not seen. And this video is a brand new video with regard to the importance of early intervention. It's available on the NIDMAR site as well as the Reducing Poverty Initiative site, which I will be telling you more about momentarily here. I'm just going to go into sharing my screen, share sound, and share screen number 2. Hopefully this works properly. Okay, now Lanny, you're my test child. Can you see the
You
presentation?
bet. It's great.
Gosh, dang,
We
I
can
did
see
it
and
right.
hear.
Awesome. Okay. Well, with no further ado, hopefully this turns good. So far, so good. And here we go.
Early intervention in disability management changes lives for the better. When we act early with the right support at the right time, individuals can recover more quickly, return to work with confidence, and regain their sense of purpose, independence, and financial security. Employers retain skilled, motivated staff, reduce disability costs, and build more inclusive, resilient workplaces. Families stay stable, communities stay connected, and people thrive. Your health is your greatest wealth. It allows you to move freely, work where you want, and thrive. But that can all change in an instant. Acquiring a disability gravely threatens your chances for gainful employment, financial independence, and self-determination. People with a disability are often stripped of their dignity, autonomy, social inclusion, and independence. There's also a subtle and dangerous tendency to gradually become accustomed to a life of immobility and dependence. Physical impairments often result in mental health challenges within 6 months. About 75% of people develop depression, anxiety, and other crippling states after a life-altering injury or illness. Many lose confidence in themselves and their chances of getting back to some version of their old lives. Thinking about returning to work feels harder and harder as declining conditions of existence start to feel more and more normal. Savings dry up, housing becomes unaffordable, and bills go unpaid. Once a person with a disability loses their attachment to the workplace and ends up on disability assistance, less than 1% will ever enter the workforce again. Their lives devolve in a spiral of endless paperwork to prove both their physical and financial need. Hospital records, doctor's notes, program applications, reports on the smallest financial support, all so they can apply for access to their most basic needs, like housing, medication, transportation, equipment, and personal care. Often, these needs go unmet. Poverty and disability practically go hand in hand. In Canada, there are at least 1.4 million disabled people living in poverty today. So many are left feeling cold, hungry, in debt, and abandoned. The high suicide rate among disabled people is truly shocking. The tragedy of disability affects everyone: the individual, their family, their community, and their employer. It impacts millions of people and billions of dollars in the economy. But there is hope through early intervention. In their moment of vulnerability, a disabled worker needs a trusted expert to help them navigate the complexities of providing the right resources at the right time in order to support them back into their social and working spheres. Early intervention is a proactive approach to support individuals facing a life-altering injury or illness by providing the right resources, guidance, and expertise at the critical moment of need. Its goal is to minimize disruption, prevent long-term consequences, and facilitate a timely return to work and social engagement, often before the individual has to take extended time off. Returning to work rather than getting pushed onto a benefits program or long-term disability allows people to get back their sense of purpose and pride in having an income and being able to provide for themselves and their families. There's also a net benefit for the employer, who gets to retain their talent rather than have to pay replacement and training costs. And by making reasonable accommodations to welcome back their employee, they also see reduced claim durations and lower long-term disability rates. Employment is a social determinant of health. Putting in the work to intervene early, collaborate on solutions, and see employees return to their pre-disability employer has a proven 5-to-1 rate of return on investment for the employer and huge returns on social health for everyone. Employers have nothing to lose and everything to gain, and they don't have to do it alone. There are tools and access to professionals through the National Institute of Disability Management and Research, and education that's specific to return-to-work programs is available through the Pacific Coast University for Workplace Health Sciences. For individuals, you can act quickly with the guidance of a certified disability management professional to work with you, speak on your behalf, and navigate the bureaucratic and emotional waters of returning to work after an illness or injury. Empower yourself or someone you know by accessing the support and resources needed to stay connected to life, work, and community. Whether you're an employer ready to support your team, an employee seeking guidance, or a professional with expertise to share, be a part of the growing movement around early intervention in disability management. Get involved, make a difference, and help create a future where everyone can thrive.
I wanted to make sure I showed the end of the videotape in the sense that this tape was oops, nope, there we go. So that video was made for the purpose of the Reducing Poverty Initiative, Disability Assistance Through Early Intervention, but is a video that can be utilized by anybody. And it's available. It can be shown by, in my mind, any certified disability management professional or other that's looking to enhance early intervention, education, awareness, understanding within their work site, so on and so forth. So more about the Reducing Poverty Initiative. The Reducing Poverty Initiative is a pilot project in British Columbia, funded by both the federal and provincial governments in partnership. It's a pilot of 5 years. We just got extended for another 2. Initially, it was 3. Now we're out to 5. It's going to conclude March 12, 2028. The pilot's in 4 communities. And what's it supposed to do? Well, the Reducing Poverty Initiative is based on a similar project that was done in Belgium. And in Belgium, it was roughly 12 years ago now, where they noted the number of people that were falling between the cracks and needed to take advantage, if you will, of social disability benefits was increasing. And they thought there's got to be something we can do that's more proactive to assist individuals so they don't end up in that precarious situation of having to apply for social disability benefits. So in Belgium, they introduced a program of early intervention where individuals had access to a certified disability management professional as well as access to fully funded treatment to assist them over the barriers and of course, return to work. The CDMP, as we all know, worked with the individual, healthcare providers, the employer, the union, all those stakeholders in the situation to provide that path forward. In Belgium, it was so successful that, as you can see on the slide here, in January 1st, 2022, it was legislated. Okay, now it is the way in which things are done in Belgium. In British Columbia, hey, we're a bit further back. The pilot just started a couple of years ago. We've already started to work with individuals. Okay, we do not know what's going to happen at the end of the day, but the game plan is that we're going to be looking after. The goal is 500 people through this pilot. At the end of it, in March 12, 2028, we will be giving a report back to both provincial and federal governments as to what we saw, where the opportunities might lie, where the barriers are, and most importantly, what the recommendations might be. Currently in this initiative, the eligibility, okay, is between the ages of 18 and 65, unable to work for physical or medical health reasons, currently employed or have a job to return to. In essence, they've been off of work for less than a year. Okay, they need to reside in one of our 4 pilot communities. And for those folks that know British Columbia, hey, Vancouver, okay, Nanaimo, Kelowna, and Prince George. So what we've tried our best to do is have the urban center, Vancouver, have the rural center, Prince George, and have 2 communities that are kind of right in between, being Nanaimo and Kelowna. Okay, and the big thing here is they're not in receipt of other, as we call it, insured benefits, such as workers' comp, auto insurance, short-term, long-term disability, but rather, if we will, that sweet spot are people that are on medical EI or, let's say, not eligible for medical EI. Okay. So the offering, of course, in the program, as I alluded to, person has access to a fully qualified CDMP. They also have access to fully funded treatment, okay, which provides on-the-job adaptations, ergonomic support, individual supports, and so on and so forth. What the CDMP in this project is responsible for doing is working with the individual, sourcing whatever resources might be in their particular community that may well assist. Okay. And we are teamed up with a number of groups. Our funding comes through the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction in British Columbia. Work BC, okay, is also funded through that ministry. And we're working very closely with the Work BC folks. But the other groups we're working very closely with is Healthcare Public and Healthcare Private. They were very involved in this project, something we didn't necessarily think of when we started rolling things out, but those relationships have grown and grown substantially in the 4 pilot communities. So how does it look in a nutshell? An individual applies either online, through fax, through email, or they can even pick the phone up and apply to us. We're trying to remove all the barriers. There's a quick screening call to make sure, yeah, they are eligible, and yes, they want to proceed further with regard to the program because it is completely voluntary. People can enter the program today, and if they feel that a month later, 2 weeks later, or 3 months later, not ready for me, want to put it on the shelf for a while, no harm, no foul, they can do that. The important component right in the middle there is that CDMP connection. Right now, we have 8 CDMPs, soon to be 12. All 12 of these CDMPs have a primary job in the community. Some of them might work for a university, some work for the local WCB, some work for the local insurance carrier with regard to automobile insurance in British Columbia, ICBC. Others work for Fraser Health, Vancouver Coastal Health. So they all have other jobs, their primary job. They have permission from their employer, and they are working with us kind of on the corner of their desk, okay? So it's awesome. They're passionate, just as passionate as I am about this project. That CDMP, as we all know, works with the individual to put a case management plan going forward for that individual. We'll call it the implementation plan. And of course, the ongoing support with the individual, the employer, and other stakeholders that might be involved in their particular case. So with that, I want to say thank you because my 10 minutes are coming to a close. If anyone is interested in talking more about the Reducing Poverty Initiative, or as we call it, the RPI, Disability Assistance Through Early Intervention, more than happy to talk your ear off. Okay. Thank you very much once again, and congratulations to all you new CDMPs across Canada.
Thank you, Bill. So yeah, another great example of very innovative program taking shape and targeting a group that is often lost, right? The group that aren't attached to a larger employer with the benefits and things that we. Well, I know I've always worked in that industry where there's folks we've had benefits, and so I kind of don't think about that other aspect. So really, really great work. Thank you, Bill. Now I'm very pleased to introduce Wolfgang Zimmermann, Executive Director of NIDMAR, whose leadership has shaped disability management standards internationally. We are honored to have you with us today, Wolfgang. Welcome.
Great. Thanks a lot, Lanny. Much appreciate the opportunity to be part of this conversation today. And of course, building on the earlier comments from Janine and from Bill, I think it's tremendous that we've come such a long ways, and obviously, my congratulations to everybody who was able to meet the standards of the CDMP, and I always reflect back on how far we have come and the progress that we have made. We've got a long ways to go. I kind of think back when I got hurt. It was a situation as a very, very young worker many, many decades ago when the first week on the job, a 50-foot tree working for Canada's largest forest products company came down on me and ended up breaking my back, leaving me with a severe spinal cord injury. We didn't have CDMPs, we didn't have experts in return to work. I was just incredibly fortunate that the job that with the commitment of the union and the company, the job that I was going back to or was going to was suitable, but the building was completely inaccessible. It was a logging camp out here on the west coast of Vancouver Island. We had about 450 guys working there, and the corporate office in the bush essentially was about as inaccessible as you would ever imagine it. And but with that commitment from the employer and the union, it took the engineering department sort of a half a day to figure out how to make the accessibility work, because there was essentially no model to follow up on. There was no expertise in terms of building accommodation, making a facility accessible, accommodating somebody with a pretty severe spinal cord injury. But I was fortunate that with that commitment, and now all of you are there and have the skills to support employers, to support the workplace, to ensure that you don't get relegated to the margins of society after you suffer disabling, whether it's a mental or physical health impairment, but being able to carry on working. So the other part that I just briefly wanted to comment on is that for all of you that now have obtained the CDMP designation, you're part of a global community that is moving this agenda forward. That there is a recognition around the world, not only here, but around the world, that continued employment is a win-win-win for everybody. And Janine reflected on that, and of course, Bill as well. And the CDMP designation, it's certainly just great to know that as part of the initiatives that Bill referenced, whereby the early intervention after a 5-year pilot in Belgium became a legislated piece, that as part of the same process, the CDMP designation is now a regulated health profession in Belgium. It kind of builds on what Janine commented on in terms of it having become a standard. So this jurisdiction has taken it one step further, and that basically means that if you're not a CDMP, you cannot be employed in return to work in Belgium. And now the Malaysian government is moving in the same direction, and I would expect that they will be the next one up globally. And as of a couple of months ago, there's a major initiative moving forward in Germany to do exactly the same. There have been discussions already with the German Federal Minister of Labor and Social Affairs. The actual rights for the CDMP, the license rights for the CDMP designation in Germany are held by the German Federal Workers' Compensation Board, because it's a federal system. And because in their world, in their legal structure, the CEO of the German Federal Workers' Compensation Board falls under the Federal Minister for Labor and Social Affairs. So you see there's tremendous progress in this space, in moving forward and providing and ensuring quality quality support. The other pieces that I quickly want to mention, and some of you, of course, are very much involved, is that we are also creating a number of AI-powered solutions. One is a disability management solutions platform that is moving rapidly forward, and that will be launched, and you will hear about it, and you'll be able to participate in that hopefully very, very shortly. And that is essentially to have a chatbot that is supported through successful return to work case studies from around the world. In other words, how do I accommodate a challenging situation? And participation in this will be open to all these CDMPs, so you will be part of that. In addition, there is a disability and employment support chatbot that's being developed as part of, and Bill's leading that as part of the RPI initiative. And that is essentially designed to support individuals who acquire an impairment and have no support, and what are my options? So it's really quite exciting. And the other piece that is being developed is a disability management encyclopedia. So in other words, if you're looking for anything related to disability management over time, and we're sort of in the development stage of this, over time, this chatbot will provide you with the answers. If you're looking for disability management in the context of an addictions-related challenge, this chatbot will be able to provide you with some answers in terms of the options that are there. So having said that, I want to extend my personal congratulations, and it's tremendous to see this. And hopefully all of you will be able to support employers and disabled workers so they don't have the same challenge as I had decades ago, where it really was a function of collaboration between the employer and the union and a tremendous amount of commitment. And I, from a personal point of view, look forward to seeing you become active players in a global community that values early intervention and supporting individuals who have acquired a disability and want and need to stay on the job rather than getting pushed to the margins. Thank you and congratulations. Back to you, Lanny.
Thank you, Wolfgang, so much. Always inspiring, and your leadership in this internet, is international advancing of the importance of disability management professionals is phenomenal, and like I said, always inspiring. Now today is December 3rd. We chose today for this webinar with intention. It is the International Day in recognition of persons with disabilities, and so I think that is very meaningful for us, and about being able to advance the cause. And like you said, Wolfgang, it's a win-win-win all around when we keep disabled workers connected to the workplace, either through stay-at-work programs or return to works and accommodation and that collaboration. We're going to switch over now and actually recognize all of the individuals here that we're celebrating, the newly certified professionals. We're so proud to acknowledge and celebrate the CDMPs and CRTWCs who took the challenge and that professional growth to take that certification. As Bill said, we all will get together and we'll laugh and we'll just say, yes, it's tough. But it does. You are part of a larger community now, and you should be very, very proud and of your commitment and of the time that you've put into this, and of the path that you've chosen. Your dedication to advancing disability management makes a meaningful difference to workers, employers, and communities across Canada. Congratulations to all of you on your significant achievement. And I think we have a PowerPoint presentation now. Is that right? Yes, I see. Sorry, yeah.
Who's sharing? Am I supposed to share?
I'm not quite sure. Yes, I think I
for
see a
the
nod.
CDMP graduations?
Yeah,
okay.
please. Thank
yes,
you.
Sorry. Sorry about that. It's not playing their sound. So I'm just gonna unshare. I know what to do now. I'll just bring it up on my screen. Share my screen. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. Stop share. Lisa's graduation. Can you see my screen?
We can.
You can? Okay.
It's
great.
the lantern, yeah.
Sorry. No, it's supposed to be the PowerPoint presentation. It's a bit different. It's got music set to it. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
well. Everyone can just do a quick little stretch. We'll do a little bit of arm and chair yoga here, everybody, just to waken ourselves up here. That's it, everybody. Oh,
Can you see my presentation now?
no, we're just still looking at a
Okay,
light,
okay, here we
a
go.
lantern.
Here we
So,
go. What about now?
perfect.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We had our stretch.
So let's get it into presenter. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Apologize for this little tech issue there and not the music, but hopefully you were just kind of singing along in your head. There you go. It was either that or ask Bill to sing, and well, I've heard him sing. No, so anyways, congratulations to each and every one of you. I look forward to your participation over the years to come and joining us in future webinars down the road, or perhaps even presenting some of the work that you're doing. I'd like to switch now and introduce our keynote speaker, Shelley Daphne. Shelley is the Chief Engagement Officer at Workers' Compensation Board, Nova Scotia. Shelley is a natural leader in prevention, employer engagement, psychological injury, and disability management. Her strategic and innovative work continues to shape the future of workers' compensation in Canada. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you so much. I am just absolutely thrilled to be here. And I have to say that having had the opportunity to teach a little bit in the Pacific Coast University program, I saw some names of some of my students, and I'm so thankful for them to be completing their CDMP. Congratulations. So today, I understand that I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some things that are happening in Nova Scotia, all the way across the other side of the country. And to do so, just give me a moment. Like Janine, we use Teams at WCB Nova Scotia. So you've got me off a little bit here, trying to make sure that I can make sure I share properly. So give me a moment. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. This is not the right one. Okay, 1 second. Are you seeing the proper screen? It says graduate onset cycle.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need there.
Perfect.
We are ready to go. So today, I want to talk to you a little bit about a model we developed in Nova Scotia. And why do I want to talk to you about that? Because it really is a model we developed based on the principles that you are espousing within disability management and the background. So I wanted to say that first of all, in Nova Scotia, there was a problem. In Nova Scotia, the highest rate of disability occurred across the country. So as you can imagine, we were facing a significant problem. And so we had to rethink, what does hurt look like? And we took some bold steps to make a change. And as a result, we entered into the creation of a new service model. And the new service model was a way to set the course for Nova Scotia, not only from a WCB perspective, but from the perspective of thinking about disability and culturally in Nova Scotia. I'm just going to wait for 1 second here, if you can just bear with me. So what we found out, first of all, was that in Nova Scotia, we had an opportunity to improve the workplace conversations from day one. And what we found is that we weren't talking about return to work with the worker or with the employer until 83 days in. And can you imagine what happens? People are disconnected, they're feeling lost, they don't know how to navigate a system that can often be very complex. And so we had to rethink that. And we had the opportunity to do so because in September 1st, 2024, the government of Nova Scotia launched new legislation. And the new legislation said this: for the first time ever in Nova Scotia, we were behind other jurisdictions, we want to accept claims for gradual onset psychological injury in the workplace. And so with the backdrop of disability being very prevalent in Nova Scotia, a high rate of claims and psychological injury for traumatic psychological injuries, and a background where disability management wasn't really considered, it was really medically driven, we knew we had a high risk. And so we said, let's look at the principles of disability management, and let's be bold. Let's rethink what safety looks like. Let's rethink what return to work looks like for these claims. So the backdrop to all of this was that we all want the same thing. We engaged with labor unions, we engaged with worker associations, we engaged with employers, we engaged with all of our partners across Nova Scotia and said, we all want the same thing. We all want Nova Scotians working for all the reasons that Wolfgang just spoke about. It's a win, win, win for all. And we, as WCB Nova Scotia, don't want to be the barrier. We do not want that to be the case. We want to be the enablers. So what would we do? And as the legislation was announced, we engaged with everyone and we talked about where are the points of friction in the system. If we all believe that return to work is the best outcome for someone, then what's getting in the way? What's getting in the way at the system level? Now, for all of you who are working in the field as a CDMP, sometimes you're going to be working at a case level. Sometimes you're going to be building a system for your organization. And sometimes you might be working on legislation, or you might be working in policy, or sometimes you'll have the opportunity, like we had, to think really broadly and have an influence over an entire province. And so as I'm talking about this, it's really not about the story of Nova Scotia. For me, it's for all of you who are becoming CDMPs. I see an incredible future for you. Maybe sometime you're going to be working on the Poverty Reduction Initiative or setting up something like that. Or like in my case, this story about what happened in Nova Scotia. So I guess my point is, soak it all up. Think about what you can contribute because we do such important work. I actually say, and if you've ever been in one of my classes, I talk about us saving people's lives, and I truly believe it. So as I continue, put that in the back of your mind. So as you can see, we started thinking about those points of friction, which I referred to. And we talked with everyone, we engaged for 9 months straight, every month. We had thousands of people join webinars, and we had hundreds of people join in conversations in community centers, talking about what would support for people with psychological injuries look like. And we talked a little bit about, in the community, what could change that people would be afraid of and what could change that what people would be supportive of. And where we landed was this. We landed that we needed to fundamentally rethink workers' compensation at the onset. And so you can see in this little picture diagram that I have here, we said, nope, 83 days talking about return to work is not okay. 83 days talking about what the supports look like in the workplace is not okay. We all know that disability is contextual. It's not about your particular injury necessarily, but the context in which you need to return to work or can return to work. So we said, what would happen if we started conversations before we even accepted a claim in workers' compensation? Now, for some of you think, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In the world of workers' compensation, that's almost sacred. You make sure that a claim is attributable, or a person with a disability, I should say that, or a workplace injury or a psychological injury, you make sure that it's occurred as a result of the workplace before we even start to provide support. And so that friction point was a point that we had to bust through. And here's why. We all know that for people who are suffering these type of injuries from their workplace, the problem is that getting access to the care they need, getting access to what the legislation says they have to provide in order to have a claim accepted can take time. We knew that just accepting a claim because we have to have a diagnosis and you have to have a report from the psychologist or a psychiatrist that says that you have a condition under the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, the DSM, that can take upwards of 40 to 50 days. So imagine Imagine how that person who's experienced bullying and harassment in the workplace, and that can come from a colleague, it can come from somebody that they're working with. So, for example, we know lots of times that bullying and harassment in the hospital situation can actually come from aggressive clients, for example, in the ER. So we said, what if we had those conversations from day one? And so what we did is we created a navigator position. And our navigators will help provide support for an individual the moment they make a phone call to us. And not only do they help the individual and get access to community-based care before we can pay for it under the workers' compensation scheme, we also connect with their employer. And this is what the conversations look like. They talk about, well, I'm really concerned because this is happening and I'm experiencing symptoms of insomnia and I'm afraid to have this conversation. My employer probably won't believe me. My employer will be judging me. Maybe I'm not the right fit for the job. This is what it happens. And then our navigators say, can I have a conversation with your employer to help you? And that sometimes there's a lot of back and forth, but when they do, we have a conversation with the employer and they often say, I had no idea. And that's where you bridge disability with safety and prevention. And the story goes like this. Those conversations happen. Many times the person may not even pursue a claim. They get the support they need in the community and the support from their employer. And as a result, the employer also is making changes to their workplace to be better equipped to detect when bullying and harassment is occurring and to prevent those injuries. So that was really the essence behind it. And, on September 1st, 2024, they took their first call. And by being honest and open and having these conversations, we've seen a significant difference. We also did something else. As somebody thinks about whether or not they're getting sufficient support and we're registering the claim and we're trying to get the right care that they need, we also have created a language. So we think about or rethinking what it means to get better. And so we talk about a scale, a work-connected recovery. So we're able to assess where somebody is, not only in the progression of their injury, but also where are they in that continuum around work-related connectedness. And it allows us with our service providers and with our workers and employers to kind of see progress and where people are moving. And it's on a 10-point scale. Finally, I just want to share with you a quote. And if any of you have had any engagement with workers' compensation boards, we know we are not the best to get along with at times, but we're trying to change that, and particularly in Nova Scotia. And I love this because this quote, and I won't read it to you because I'm sure you can all read if you have a CDMP, essentially they've said, look, I didn't even get my claim approved, but I felt validated and I was supported from beginning to end. And that made a difference. That enabled me to continue to work. And I'm so very, very proud of this program that we've developed. We are going to take it across all of our psychological injuries and test it out there as well. And long term, we're thinking about, is this really the way of the future? In workers' compensation in Nova Scotia, because at the end of the day, all of us, we all want the same thing. It's another way of saying what Wolfgang said. It's a win-win-win when we keep people connected to work. So that's our story. I hope that you too one day will have the opportunity to build a program like this, because the more people in Canada and internationally who understand the value of disability management and that work connectivity, we will all infiltrate every single organization and make a change for the better. So thank you very much and congratulations to all.
Oh, thank you, Shelley. That was so interesting. And you just recently, one of the last things you said was you're looking at taking this, and my head went, and finish the sentence to say across the country, but to other workers' compensation boards, but you didn't. You said across for more or across other type of psychological injuries. So I was just like, how do I get this out west?
Call me.
I will. Actually, I know that's there's a lot more information and detail around that program, and I'm really interested in learning more for that. So thank you so much. Again, another really innovative way and really just humanizing the process, right? Which is
100%. We're all
really,
people.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, not a claim number, not a statistic, but the people. So very, very good. Thank you so much. And I see that we've been joined by Lorne. Good morning, Lorne. Are you ready to go if I
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay. Well, then I am thrilled to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Lauren Sulsky, who is a professor at Memorial University and an internationally recognized scholar in performance management and work stress. We are really pleased to welcome Dr. Sulsky.
Well, thank you very much. Happy to be here. I have a very brief set of slides. Should I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm going to endeavor to do that now. And I'm just looking to see where I can make that happen here. Okay. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes, it's a little bit.
We
It's
can
the right
see
screen.
half
It's
the
just not
slide.
centered. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. So let me just do that. And as Lanny indicated, my name's Lauren, and I'm affiliated with Memorial University of Newfoundland in their Faculty of Business, specialization in HR. And I've been involved with NIDMAR as Wolfgang and I first met back in the early 90s, working on the disability management auditing tool, doing some psychometric analyses, and I've continued my relationship ever since. And most recently, this new initiative, the CDMPE. So I only have, I understand, about 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to keep this brief, and we'll have time for questions at the end. The HR Association in Ontario has a credential that individuals can apply for called an HR PA executive designation. And this is for people who are in leadership positions. And so rather than applying for the regular HR designation, they can apply for this enhanced executive designation. Wolfgang became aware of this and mentioned this to me and wondered if we could have something comparable on the CDMP side where someone could earn a CDMP executive credential, which would be for individuals who are CDMPs in a leadership or executive role. What would differentiate this from the HRPA in Ontario, however, is in the Ontario context, you can apply directly for the executive designation. Here, you would have to be a CDMP first and achieve that designation, and then with the CDMP, apply for the enhanced executive CDMP E designation. So we talked about it. It sounded really good to me, but Wolfgang and I both thought we needed to solicit a fair amount of feedback to see what the appetite might be for something like this. And so we had a meeting back in January of this year with a group of senior level CDMPs. The meeting was held in Vancouver just to talk about the potential utility of the designation. And one of the attendees suggested that we do a survey of the membership to see if there would be any interest in such a designation. The first step before even doing the survey is we did a literature review just to see what are the types of leadership behaviors that might be associated with a CDMP in an executive or leadership role. And we identified 23 behaviors, such as acting with integrity, to ensure that actions are moral, motivating coworkers and subordinates to maximize performance and potential, and then another 21 like behaviors. And on the survey, we weren't only interested in individuals' potential interest in this designation, but whether the individuals thought that these behaviors were in fact relevant to a CDMP in an executive role. And the reason for including the behaviors is if there was an interest, then those are the behaviors that we would want to specifically examine in prospective applicants to the enhanced designation to see if in fact they're aware and understand how to engage in those behaviors effectively. So what we did is developed an online survey to gauge importance of the 23 behaviors, as well as to gauge interest in the designation itself. And over 300 CDMPs across a number of jurisdictions completed the survey. That includes Canada, Belgium, UK, Germany, and Malaysia. And the evidence was very clear that there's broad interest in such a designation. Just to give you a bit of a flavor, this isn't the entire data set, but this was an analysis of 257 of the total. The remaining respondents came in a little bit late, so they weren't included in these tables, although the pattern of results is exactly the same. So I'm confident in saying that these results are representative of the full sample. And you can see when the question was posed, is this proposed enhanced credentials something you would like to see created? The vast majority of individuals said yes. Only 53 were unsure, and only 12 no's. A secondary question, do you think this enhanced credential would be something that you would personally consider and possibly pursue? Again, the vast majority saying yes, relatively small number said unsure, and only 21 individuals said no. In some of the follow-up questions, what we learned was a key variable for people in determining whether they were interested or not is whether and the extent to which there would be an educational requirement. So if an individual felt that he or she had to take remedial courses or get additional education, then enthusiasm for this credential was not as great. So armed with that, we went through a series of steps to develop what would ultimately be a CDMP executive exam that would be administered to individuals who are interested in pursuing this designation. We did talk a lot about what the requirements would be to actually be an applicant for this executive designation, and we can talk about that later if you have any questions about it. The good news, I'll just steal my own thunder and say no educational requirement per se. So individuals who are CDMPs who meet the other qualifications are able to apply for this designation without having to take remedial coursework. So we went through a series of iterative steps with a number of different subject matter expert groups, beginning in April. And we basically finished up at the end of August, and we've been pilot testing the exam since. But to just keep things short and succinct, essentially what we've developed is a situational interview exam where applicants will be presented with hypothetical situations where they're presented with some of those 23 behaviors that I identified or mentioned earlier. And so, for example, say you're in a situation where an employee is a CDMP is not performing up to level. How would you develop their performance? How would you manage their performance? What type of feedback would you use? Those kinds of things. And then the respondent would have between 5 and 7 minutes to respond to that situation. And so we have an exam where there's 4 situations presented to the applicant, and they'll have 5 to 7 minutes for each of those situations. The final question is a written question, which is again a situation that's presented to the applicant, and they have between 500 and 750 words approximately to answer or respond to that situation, how they would handle it. And they have up to an hour to complete the written portion. And that's essentially the exam. Situational interviews are known to be highly valid testing procedures amongst the highest validities of test types that we have, certainly in personnel selection. We see that the only test that actually does better predictively than situational interviews or structured interviews more broadly would be tests of general intelligence. So it's a really, really nice way of testing, and especially for people at a higher level and who are in an executive role and who aspire to have this enhanced designation. There'll be 2 interviewers, so the interviewers subsequent to the responses and the written portion will meet to discuss the scoring. There's a scoring guide that's been created, a rubric that grounds the responses to the rubric, and the rubric was created by the subject matter experts over the previous 6 months, so that when the interviewers are listening to a response, the evaluators, the interviewers, are able to calibrate the applicant's response to the behavioral expectations. And the interview is ultimately grounded in those 23 behaviors, which, by the way, were all deemed to be highly important in our survey that I alluded to earlier. So what we have right now is a test bank with 9 situational questions. 6 of them are of the interview type, 3 are written, and we're in the process of getting ready to develop more questions for the bank. As I indicated, we've been pilot testing with great success. The scoring has been highly reliable. So when we have 2 interviewers examining the pilot interviews, the scoring is very, very similar amongst the 2 interviewers. And again, having the option to discuss any discrepancies and working out a consensus is highly valuable, enhances the reliability of the interview as well as the face validity for the applicant, knowing that there are 2 individuals involved in the assessment. And in terms of requirements, individuals will have to have been a CDMP and have been in a leadership position. Originally, we had it for at least 6 months in a leadership position before applying is an option, but we're now considering upping that to a year. The individual has to have at least 1 direct report, and that direct report might be a CDMP, but in a smaller organization, they may not be. But regardless, this is a CDMP who is leading other individuals, and this individual has already achieved the CDMP designation and has been a CDMP for a while. Probably it's going to be a year, and then the individual, as long as they have direct reports, can apply for this designation, do the exam, and then achieve the enhanced credential. Okay, so that is about 10 minutes there, which I was told would be my time frame. So sorry if I went quickly, but I did want to make sure that there was time for questions at the end. So I will now just return to you guys and see what questions or comments you might have.
All right, thank you, Lauren. There was one question about the application process and cost, and so I don't, has any of that been fine-tuned yet?
It has not,
Okay.
but we'll be getting there reasonably soon. Right now, our primary goal or our primary activity is to enhance the test bank and also to finish the pilot testing. We have 1 more pilot test to do, and in fact, we're doing it later this week. And then what we're then going to be working on is a training program for interviewers. So we're developing a training program, which the folks that were involved in the pilot testing have agreed to allow us to record their interviews. And so we're going to be using snippets of those interviews with their permission in the training. So ostensible interviewers will receive vignettes or snippets of these various pilot interviews, and they'll grade them, and then they'll be given feedback on their evaluations. And it's called frame of reference training is
Right.
the technical name for it. So we're working on that. I know that Malaysia is very interested in receiving the training materials sooner rather than later. And we're working towards making that happen. Then once that's done, I think we're going to turn our attention to the nuts and bolts of, when it's going to be offered, how much is it going to cost. I know that there's some promotional materials that are being developed as we speak, so a website and those kinds of things. I think it would be really helpful for anybody listening. If you think you have an interest in this, let Lisa know. It would be good to know just from the membership. We did the survey, of course, and that feedback was great. But if anybody who's on this call, would like to express an interest, letting Lisa know, and we keeping sort of a list would be really helpful to have. But yeah, so we'll get there. We're just not quite there yet with the
Great.
nuts and bolts kinds of things.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And I think without a doubt, we will, as the board, will make sure that there's good advertisement and potentially even, a session, another session with Lauren, like a webinar to actually go through it and introduce it.
Sure.
Later
Absolutely.
in the year or something like that. So we will make sure that folks get the information out
Awesome.
there. So thank you
Any,
so much, Lauren.
yeah, anything else? Any last?
No, I think
No?
that was the one in the question there. So I think, I think there's definitely going to be interest.
Right.
And so, if there are some other questions, what we can do is, just in the interest of time, if folks want to send an email to Lisa, then she can perhaps forward it to Lauren and we can get you the answer if there's some questions that you think of afterwards. But definitely stay tuned. There'll be more information coming.
Great. I do see one last question from Michelle Smith
Yes.
about she has the CRTWC designation. We haven't talked about the CRTWC side of the ledger. There might down the road be an enhanced designation for CRTWCs as well. But that is not something that's on our radar screen at the present time. It's an interesting thought. My sense is you would have to upgrade to a CDMP if you wanted to achieve the CDMP-E. In other words, you couldn't go from a CRTWC right to a CDMP-E. But there might be a way of going, assuming we go down this road, from a CRTWC to a CRTWCE. That's a mouthful. We just haven't had that discussion. And I don't know whether there'd be interest in that in the CRTWC community. We'd have to do a survey, and so that's for another time.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Lauren.
All right.
I'm going to ask you to stop sharing your screen.
Okay, I'm going to leave the meeting actually, and so.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you again. Bye, all.
Bye, all. Now I'm really pleased to be able to introduce our final speaker, Graham Halsey. Sorry. He was the chair of the IFDM 2026. Graham has more than 25 years of leadership experience in disability management and has helped shape national and international practices for sustainable return to work. Please welcome Graham. You're on mute. Sorry. And then I'm clicking myself in and out of mute.
It's okay.
So there we
Can
go.
you hear me now?
We can. So thank you.
Right, that's just. And can you see my screen now?
We can.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, hello everybody, and greetings from Scotland. Can I first of all say many congratulations to you all on passing the CDMP, CRTWC exams. We've been through the process here in the UK too, and not that long ago had a celebration event here. It's a tough gig, and You see people physically change through that day. So well done. I just want to give you a little bit of background about IFDM 2026. I was sat quietly enjoying coffee and took a call from Wolfgang. Lesson 1, don't take calls from Wolfgang. It's a poison chalice, I think. He just said, do you think it'd be a good idea for IFDM to come to the UK? It was hosted here once before in 2012, and this time we wanted to make a very different impression. We gave it some thought, which lasted a little while, and we agreed that IFDM should return to our shores, but this time not in London, in Scotland. We announced we were going to do it in the last IFDM in Vancouver, but we made the mistake of saying that we were going to do it in Glasgow. Glasgow, largest city in Scotland, but then, of course, Australia decided they weren't going to host the Commonwealth Games in 2026, and Glasgow was allocated the task of doing that. That made it really difficult for us because there was no dates allocated for the Commonwealth Games, and we needed to try and come up with something concrete. We made the decision quite quickly to move to Edinburgh, and boy, has that been, in our opinion, a good decision. It's given us a lovely landscape, as you can see, the silhouette. Edinburgh has a castle that Glasgow doesn't, and we've been able to find a venue that looks over the castle. Edinburgh has 2 large conference centres. One's in the middle of the city, and this one does overlook the castle for many of the rooms. So we're really thrilled to have that. The venue itself is pretty big. If we manage to fill this one, I am one happy bunny. The venue can take up to 500 delegates. And IFDM conferences, historically, some have been that big, some have been bigger. But 500, wow, that would be going some. We have the ability to have breakout rooms. We have the ability to have exhibitors. We have the ability to have poster displays, all of which we're going for. The rooms are delightfully Scottish in their names, and I can't even begin to pronounce them because you can gather from my accent I'm not Scottish. My wife is, hence that's why we live here. I just do as I'm told. We have a series of breakout rooms where I can pronounce those, but the one up here, Aline Danan, I cannot pronounce. I know that's wrong. We have plenty of space. We are looking forward to welcoming you. And when we were planning the event, we decided that we would look around 4 key themes. What does the conference want to address? So first of all, we wanted to say, how can we create a culture of accommodation? What is that going to look like? Is it simply providing a chair or a desk? And we thought, no, it's got to be bigger than that. And how do we change? What does our community look like? Edinburgh, a beautiful city, but there's cobbled streets. How good is that for someone who's using a wheelchair? How good is it for someone who's visually impaired? The steps going up to some of the buildings that date back to the 14th century, absolutely stunningly beautiful, accessible, not easily. So we thought, let's talk about that and get a feel for what does accessibility and the need for accommodation look like beyond the workplace, but include the workplace. So we want to address that. Now we're going left field. We want to include brain health, neurodiversity, dyslexia, dyspraxia, but also include things like ADHD. Possibly consider, how do conditions like multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, maybe early onset dementia affect people in the workplace? They are huge issues that are affecting us every day. And do we ever really stop and consider what is needed to help people re-enter, stay in, return to work? And I think it's one of the big issues that's affecting us here in the UK and across Europe. And so we wanted to open this up for conversation and to address and challenge the conference to look at research that's around at the moment. And I think promoting brain health is a really positive thing to consider. Then we wanted to look at developments in health and disability management, and of course include things like AI. What's going on, the links between disability management. And we've just heard Lauren talking about what's going on, the developments there. But also some of the links between disability management and occupational health and safety areas. We're seeing real change and communities and groups talking together and working together. So big issues there that allow us to see groups who've historically not really trusted each other coming together and making a difference. And then probably the area that we all recognize and see the biggest growth of referrals coming through to our services in mental health and work. What about early intervention? How does that work? What is the impact of early intervention? Some of the insurers in the UK, remember, we don't have workers' compensation, but we do have income protection, and the insurers are incredibly active in this field. They're seeing return to work initiatives that are having 85 to 90% success rates with early intervention. So we're looking to get a feel for what they're doing and how they're operating in that take. So the website's just gone live. We will be sending out the invitation for you to purchase tickets tomorrow morning, our time. So probably the middle of the night for you guys. And importantly, we will be on Friday sending out an invitation for you to present papers. We've been held up by a few days, purely and simply that the lady who does all of that work for me was taken sick herself, ironically, and that was waiting until today for her to actually get that material ready. But it is now cleared and it is ready to go out. So that will be ready. So tickets will go on sale through the website, which is iftm2026.com. And I've just got one last slightly musical piece, I hope, to show you that will summarize what the conference looks like. So anybody with any questions, if you could send them to Lisa, who will forward them to me, I'll get back to you as quickly as I can on that. Thank you very much. Thanks, Lanny.
Oh, thank you, Graham. That is exciting. So on this day of International Day for Recognition of Persons with Disabilities, I'm so happy that we've been able to come together and share innovative programs for workers with disabilities and exciting opportunities for CDMPs and CRTWCs. It really has been a pleasure. I want to thank all of our speakers, and most of all, on behalf of the entire CSPDM board, thank you and congratulations to the CDMPs and CRTWs on completion of your certification. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and there will be a survey that comes out afterwards. We would appreciate your feedback, and continue please to provide value and service to what we're providing to you. So that feedback is so important. Have a fabulous day, everyone. Thank you again.